You are welcome to my channel. Thanks for visiting. If you have subscribed, I'm saying a big thank you. If you haven't, please kindly remember to subscribe to my channel. Today is about post-traumatic stress disorder, and I will not waste your time. I'll go straight to possible triggers only. Without further ado, let's go. I have a separate presentation on post-traumatic stress disorder where I've given the definition of acute stress disorder, how it could progress to post-traumatic stress disorder, signs and symptoms, how to make diagnosis, treatment, can we avoid it, who should be treated, how we could be screened, who should be screened, risk factors, and the list goes on. I tag that as post-traumatic stress disorder A to Z. And if you have the time to listen to that, please kindly click on this very link. But for now, it is only about triggers. Now, the triggers are those events or situations that could lead to post-traumatic stress disorder. I'll start with occupation. Though, in so many textbooks or literature, occupation is not the first factor to be considered. I have decided to bring out occupation because many people will likely ignore, very many people working in these fields that I'm about to go into, and they will not pay attention to them as it ought to be. First on the list will be military personnel. You all agree with me, particularly the comp. Then police officers. Police officers, most of them pass through post-traumatic stress disorder just like military personnel, military officers. Okay? Firefighters, don't ignore them. Some of them will not be able to sleep, when they are back at home because of the experience on the field. Emergency medical service, personnel. Those driving the ambulance, they've seen a lot of accidents, they've seen a lot of traumatic cases that could tilt them to PTSD. Hospital staff. No, it could range from nurses to doctors to radiologists, lab technicians, those working in, anyone involved in handling patients in one level or the other, even those looking after the corpse, the pathologists, and a lot. It depends on how individual could process what he or she has seen. Also, forensic experts, medical examiners. Some of them will tell you the truth that in my career of so many years, I've never seen anything like this. When you hear that, then ask them further. Do you have PTSD? Lawyers, court staff, jurors, because they've seen maybe murder cases, some horrible cases. They're taken to the scene of the event. They are being shown so many exhibits. They've seen all sorts of things that are too difficult to even depict right here. And investigators of crime scenes, ask them if they have PTSD. Some may have acute stress disorder, but may not get out of it, and it could become PTSD. Even journalists. Horrible events have occurred, war front, fire accident, natural disaster, flood, and name it. Even criminal cases, and journalists are covering that. As a matter of fact, they will tell you, if you have kids at home, this is too difficult for some people to do, and so on and so forth. In fact, so movies will be rated. You understand all those kind of stuff? Ask some of these people. They may have PTSD. So We cannot be judgmental when it comes to all these different people that are doing their normal work. When it comes to PTSD, they may be suffering, they may have it, but who will believe them? I do. Then, the topmost on the list will be sexual related, trauma, rape, violent sexual assault, particularly happening to children, teenagers, and they will grow with that trauma for the rest of their lives. PTSD is common among those who suffer in the hands of their loved ones or even the intimate partner. So, in intimate partner violence, the victim may live with another memory for life, giving her mostly PTSD, but in few cases, him, the male partner, PTSD. Child abuse. That's why it is horrible. Sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and the child may not outgrow it again. War. We are all familiar with this. I will not waste your time on this. Anyone who had lived in a region that is known to be violent or who had experienced war, perhaps the refugee people who had lived in refugee camps, how they escape from war-torn cities or countries. It's very difficult to take it off their brain. All the processes involved in storing this type of info, and it is being played back to them as if it's still happening, even when in the real life nothing like that is happening, has been fully addressed in my PTSD A to Z, the link I earlier provided. Please, you can click on that. I don't want to waste your time here, but we all understand war could lead to PTSD in many people. Natural disaster. The other time I alluded to the fact that there could be flooding, earthquake, volcano eruption, name it. Tornado, just anything, avalanche, anything could happen naturally. Those who are not just watching on TV, not reading on the newspaper, but have no first-hand encounter may not get out of that in their memory. So they will first of all have acute stress disorder. Many will not get out of that phase. They will progress to post-traumatic stress disorder. How about road traffic accident or moving vehicle accident or any accident of any sort that is so remarkable, memorable, that is not getting out of the brain anymore? It could be the source of PTSD. Terrorism. Someone has witnessed mass shooting. There was one we all saw in the world in 2001, and many were far away from New York, but can still remember what they saw on the television. Now, how will you address those who were right there that day? So, many mass shootings everywhere, in school, mall, everywhere. Those who are directly involved may never get out of that memory ever. So they can come down with PTSD. Abduction or kidnapping. We've seen so many cases on television of ladies being kidnapped, being kept for 10 years, for many years. Do you think they can ever get out of it? I doubt it. So many of them might have PTSD for life. Displaced people from their home might be because of war or natural disaster. They come down with PTSD and might be difficult to get out. Seeing a loved one die, oh boy, how can you wipe that out of memory? It's pretty difficult. Or seeing a dead body. I remember my first day in anatomy lab, our female colleagues rushed into the lab, but we've never seen dead body being laid on table before and we needed to work upon. They rushed back out, crying. And not that the boys were strong, no, but the expression was different. Internally, we're just processing what we're seeing, while some were crying out so loudly, some were just processing it internally and quietly. So that memory can remain in some people for life, but in our own case, we're flooded with it because the second day we were there again, second week, second month, and for the rest of our lives, we've been dealing with that. But to some who will see a dead body once may never get out of it again, and they'll come down with PTSD. Witnessing a crime or being told about news can trigger PTSD. Medical illness. How could medical illness be the source of post-traumatic stress disorder? It depends on the type of illness like stroke, myocardial infarction, obstructive sleep apnea, chronic pain, or staying in the hospital for a long time could trigger PTSD. And any unpleasant or terrifying or horrific events could trigger post-traumatic stress disorder. Like I said, this presentation is not meant to define PTSD, ASD, signs and symptoms, treatment, diagnosis, risk factors, who could get out of it, who cannot get out of it, the prognosis, and so on. No. This is just to take you through the possible triggers. If you want to know all other facts on PTSD, click on the link I provided earlier. Thanks for listening. Remember to always check my channel and you are free to leave a comment. I appreciate it. Thank you.